Welcome back to the Reconcile Room podcast. Boom. We are your hosts, Ezekiel,
Caleb,
and Kimmy.
And man, it is so exciting to be back for yet another episode. Just hit us with the question, Kimmy.
Okay. We've talked about this, the three of us together sometime. But what is your, like, if you're getting a pet, or specifically like a dog, like what is the breed you're getting and why? I'll go first. I want to get a husky because I think they're funny, but they're a lot of energy. That's my answer.
That's funny because that's the question you asked I could have answered for everybody here.
That's what?
That's the question that you asked that I could have answered for everybody here.
Okay, what? Well then.
Husky, Pitbull, Husky.
You also want a husky?
Babe, we've had so many conversations about this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we literally also had a conversation. Yeah.
A Pitbull would be great.
Okay.
But honestly,
we didn't have it online. That's why. Now it's the thing forever.
I was not super passionate about specifically pit bulls until Jenna started sending me pit bull reels every other day. That's dramatic. That's dramatic. She doesn't send that money, but it's but now my feed is like half pit bulls on Instagram reels.
What's the other half if they're only half pit bulls? Like half German Shepherd or what?
No. Like half it's half stuff about pit bulls and then half like anything else.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thanks for explaining it. I appreciate that.
And half everything else.
I would be down for like a Saint Bernard though.
Bro,
so much hair.
Let me tell you about Saint Bernards. I had 3 of them at one time. They're the best thing ever.
They're cute. Yep. That's a lot of hair, bro. I know your house was covered in hair. If you
Gavin, Wilson, and Detroit.
You named the Saint Bernard Detroit. You hated that dog. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Detroit?
Not after the football team. Why you gotta make stuff emotional? Dang, Packers fans got problems.
No, it's not even about football, bro. Just Detroit, like of all cities.
It's not about the city either. It's his name.
It's just a name. Okay.
Dang.
Would you guys ever own a parrot?
Listen, no.
It's like naming a dog Milwaukee and saying it's not about the city, bro. Like.
It's about
That's
the tools.
different. When you say Detroit, it sounds like a name. When you say Milwaukee, it sounds like a city.
I don't think anybody says Detroit.
Detroit, come here, my boy. What up, my boy? Detroit, you feeling good?
Like
Detroit.
nobody's ever said that. You were in denial.
Would you name a kid Detroit?
Not my kid, but a kid.
You name
Not my kid, but a kid.
Detroit, AKs, yeah. Imagine that. Imagine that.
What was I?
Add it to the list.
Hey, before you asked him that, you threw me off. What was I gonna say? We're talking about dogs. We're talking about Saint Bernard. Oh yeah, parrot. You asked if we would own a parrot.
Yeah.
I would never own a parrot because birds live way too long, and that's too much time.
How long do they live?
Birds can live to like 30, 40 years. Some of them.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
People get birds and they're like, oh, it's cool. I have a bird, but then they're like, oh, the bird's gonna live for half of my life.
I didn't know that. That's the tortoise.
Communal tortoise, yep.
Okay, but you don't have to do anything with the tortoises.
Reagan. What? Oh, you didn't even. He didn't even hear about that.
About what?
Kenny, Reagan, and Jenna were talking about how they would own a tortoise that lives like 100 years, and they would like every 20 years they would give it to the other person.
Oh my word!
Well,
Great way to catch up.
And in one of the labs in the science building, we just have a tortoise that lives there, a depressing life, just like gets fed every now and then, lettuce and.
Dang, Z.
No, that's real.
Poor
though.
guy.
I mean, it gets lost.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It gets lost.
Let's see. Even the smallest birds that people get, they can live to 15 years. Cockatiels, 14 years. Macaws and cockatoos, 35 to 80 years or more.
80 years. That's.
By the way, 35.
Imagine getting that at 20.
35 was the minimum. By the way, this is what I'm saying. Like, y'all, birds are no.
That bird gets so used to you,
and
in a good
then
way.
people just let them go because they're like, oh shoot, like I still gotta take care. Yeah, like outside, like. Phew.
Like phew.
I thought they were like taped, like their wings or something, so they couldn't.
Oh no!
Fly.
Most people that have birds, they don't do that to the wings.
Okay.
All right. Anyways.
Anyways, yeah. All right. Well, spoiler alert. Today we're talking about birds. I mean, whoa.
Why do Christians not believe in birds?
Why do? I never thought about that.
You're gonna come back.
Why do Christians think secular media is evil or demonic? You can choose whichever way you want to say it. So we're gonna be talking about all different types of media today. We're gonna be talking about songs and other types of media. That's okay. But before we get into talking about it, there's probably 2 things that we want to address. One, being like, okay, do Christians actually view it? Because we'll talk about that. And then also, what does secular mean? Because before I was a Christian, I've heard the word before, but it's like, okay, cool, like secular, okay. It's like one of those words that like you might think you know, but you don't really. So let's talk about it.
Let's define that first.
Let's
secular.
talk about it. Let's talk about secular.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I would say secular is something that is just not godly. Would that be valid? I've never had to define that word, though.
Yeah, just say what you think. Is that
what
your thought is?
I don't feel like that's what it is. That's how I think about it.
Okay, yeah.
So
I think secular, could be wrong. I think secular definition
say it with your chest. Come on.
Outside of
God's design.
No. I'm trying to think of the actual definition, not the way that I think about it. Something separated from like religion, something.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the gist. I feel like it's just like anything that's not like associated with like not necessarily Christian faith, but any religious faith, you know. So if it's dissociated from religion. For us as Christians, it'd be dissociated from Christian faith.
No religious or spiritual basis.
Isn't that the same as the word pagan?
No, because paganism is a religion in a sense.
It's a what?
Paganism is a religion because there's pagan gods.
Yeah.
Never put that together. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
For people in the Roman Empire who practice polytheism or ethnic religions other than Christianity, Judaism, and Samaritanism. Notice that Islamism isn't on there.
Islamism? Yeah.
Yeah, I was joking, but notice how Islam is not because it didn't even exist all the way back then. And then they told me what to think about Jesus. But anyways, yeah, no, but that's why like when we talk about like science and we talk about studies, bless you. We talk about science and we talk about studies and stuff like that. You even go back to the porn episode. We reference we use the word secular quite a bit because when we're talking about sources and sorting stuff, we want you to know that this isn't just a biblical point of view. Like ultimately it is biblical point of view and that's why we care about it. But it's not just something that's supported from it. But we're not supporting the Bible with just the Bible. We're not supporting believing in God with just the Bible. There's evidence and facts that you can actually point to that secular scientists and stuff agree on. So that's why we brought that up. And then in the porn episode, we were specifically talking about how secular media, secular health, secular all this other stuff says and is claiming that porn is a epidemic. Mm-hmm. And so it's stuff like that we would just use it as a reference point for it. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So knowing what the definition of secular is and how it's just like anything with no religious basis. When we say secular media, we're saying like media that just has nothing to do with religion. For us, we're saying nothing that has to do with Christian faith, especially. So now the question is, do Christians actually think that secular media is evil? Because we made this the title of our podcast, but it's not necessarily indicative of reality. So like, what do you guys think? Do you think, Kimmy, that as a Christian, do you think that secular media is evil? How would you answer that?
I would say not all secular media is evil, but I would say there's definitely modes of secular media that is evil.
What makes it evil?
I would say anything that perverts God's design makes it evil. Anything that's not serving God.
What does it mean to pervert? Okay, what does it mean to pervert God's design?
Like God has a right way that He created us, how He created the world. And if we take that out of its context or we skew it and we do whatever we want with that, I think that's perverting it.
How do I know what God wants me to do with His creation?
By reading the Word.
Okay.
Reading the Word, living it out.
Yeah.
Fellowship, the church.
So you don't think all secular media is evil?
I don't think so, because I think about like a funny reel that you've seen on TikTok. That's technically like a secular media, but I don't know if I'd say that's evil.
Yeah.
You don't know, or you know that you wouldn't say that?
Like, I don't think I would.
You don't think you would?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah. How would you answer that, Zeke?
I mean, I would say the same thing. Not all secular media is evil or demonic. There's a lot, and people have started to become quite fatigued with hearing people say that, oh, this is demonic, or they're demonic, or this song is demonic, or this trend is demonic. and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes people do use it in a bad way. And so it makes people look at media a whole lot differently, whether it would be like, oh my gosh, this person is, I don't know, singing about the love of his life, and he's not singing about her in a lustful way or an abusive way or anything like that. And so it's not a bad thing. It's just this person singing about his crush or something like that. But then somebody kind of comes like, oh, well, that's demonic because it's not like worship or stuff like that. And that's because there is a lot of music. We'll get about that later, but there's a lot of music that I do think is demonic. So I would say, short form, that I don't think all media is, all secular media is evil. But
what do you say?
I think more secular media is evil than Christians give credit for generally. There's some Christians that take it
like
too
what?
far. Like, meaning, like, I think there's some Christians that think it's okay to listen to whatever music they want. But I think there is, I think more Christians need to understand, like, if there's a spectrum to all secular media is evil to all secular media is good, most Christians are too far to the good side. Like, most Christians don't actually vet what they're looking at in media, social media, TV shows, movies, or music. Most Christians are not vetting what they're looking at. But vetting meaning like analyzing whether or not this is a good thing for me to be doing, like the vetting process. But then, like, there's a subset of Christians that are way too far on the opposite side of the spectrum and think that anything secular, non-Christian is inherently evil and will pollute your soul, you know, like will like open a portal to the demonic realm or something, you know, like that's like there is a subset of Christians that believe that. I think that's wrong. I think the other side of the spectrum is wrong. I think there's a middle, but most Christians are too far on like everything's fine side.
Which side would you rather have people be too far on? If all of the Christians in the world, you snap their fingers, like, they're either too far on this side or the other side, which one would you want them to be too far on?
I mean, I would absolutely want them to be too far on, like, all secular media is demonic and evil, for sure, because this is the root of this conversation. This will be the theme behind everything we're saying, is that there is nothing more important than your fellowship with God. Secular media doesn't inherently promote your fellowship with God, but Christian media has the propensity to do that. So, like, for example, like me reading a Christian book has a bigger propensity to change my faith than watching a random movie or TV show. You know, and that people hear that and they're like, well, I don't connect with books. Like, that's a different story. But so then let's say like a Christian message or even a Christian-based movie is probably going to do more for your soul in terms of understanding the character of God than a random secular TV show or movie. The reason why is because secular TV shows and movies often just depict sin as pleasurable. So we'll get more into the details of that. But what I'm trying to say is most of secular media is trying to depict sin as something that you should pursue and pleasure. So then, like, I would rather have Christians be overly cautious and even legalistic and saying that you shouldn't push towards this stuff at all. For the sake of evangelism, I don't like it when Christians are too far that way, because then you start to make it sound like that the Christian faith is about like having absolutely no joy, and that every single believer their fellowship with God needs to look exactly like this. But the Bible says to be in the world but not of the world. So I think you can take in secular media without being polluted by sin. Like, you just have to be selective. So we'll talk about that too. But yeah.
Yeah, one thing that came to mind that you were talking about is, and I'm already totally blanking on it. You were talking about being too far on one side versus being too far on the other side, and music, and dang, there was a story that came to mind, something that I heard about. Dang, but I don't remember. I don't know, Kimmy, do you have anything to say about what you were talking about?
I also had something and I forgot.
What, girl? How you forget?
How'd you forget?
You're supposed to save me by remembering.
No.
Dang. Okay. Well, anyways, I'll just talk about something different. It's totally fine. Okay. So, you kind of you didn't completely mention it, but you talked about movies. So I think we could just start by talking about like movies and like maybe just stuff we're watching.
Can I actually go because it's kind of relevant?
Yeah.
When you were talking about like how like you didn't like specifically say like it's far to the line or whatever, but you're saying like they're like over pushing it. Like what is like the boundary that they're like pushing?
When you're too far on the conservative side, where you think that everything's evil.
Yeah.
It's just I just
like,
don't
how
think
do you
it's
know
true.
you're there? Like, I feel like a lot of people don't even know if they're there.
If they're too far on that side.
Yeah, we're on the other side.
If you're being majorly legalistic, and if you're looking at everything, like if it doesn't have to directly do with God or have God's name on it, it's evil. If you walk around and you look at things that way, I think you know that you're on the bad side.
Yeah. There's secular media that doesn't depict sin as like something that you should pursue. And as a Christian living in the world, I'm seeing people sin all around me all the time. So it's in my power to see that and not think, oh, because I'm seeing somebody doing this sinful act, I should now do that and dwell on that and be tempted by that. Like, you wouldn't say that, but there's Christians who think like, okay, so now I'm also going to make sure my media doesn't depict that. And I think that's fair to make sure your media doesn't depict that, but you can't, I just don't think it's healthy to tell everybody that, that because this media isn't like literally talking about Christianity or talking about Jesus or the Bible, therefore it's going to cause you to sin. I don't think that's true, because people live in the world all the time and see sin, and Christians live amongst non-believers, and they can still not sin even though they're living around non-believers who are living in sin. So in the same way, I can watch a movie that's not inherently Christian or inherently like faith-based, Bible-based, whatever, and still not sin. But what we're talking about right now is how true is that? Like, meaning like, okay, is there a point where I say, okay, now I definitely should not look at this or watch this or listen to this? I think that's what we're getting into.
Yeah, I mean, my mind immediately goes to, I just want to say, I don't think there's not a good case for it when people do think like, oh, okay, you shouldn't be watching this, or you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be talking about this. Yes, I agree that people get too legalistic, but the only thing that I want to be careful for is I do think, at least in my experience and what I've seen, most of the people that swing that way, it's not necessarily because they're saying, oh, it's going to cause me to sin, but it's just the fact that it doesn't have anything to do with God. And God, the thing that he cares about first and foremost is our sanctification. And so people would just, I think most people at least that I know would make the argument just like, oh, it's not bringing me closer to God, therefore why? Instead of like, oh, it's actually bringing me away from God. And so of course not. When every Christian anywhere, like I don't care what you're saying, oh, that's just not my personal conviction. If something is causing you to sin, that's not about a personal conviction or like whatever. Like, no, you should not be there. If you're watching a show and it's got a couple kissing on it, or there's a scene where they're making out or something, and that makes you just like go into this tunnel of just thinking or just being lustful or just whatever, then that's bad. You shouldn't come away from that, even if you say that, oh, I don't have a personal conviction where I shouldn't watch romance movies or whatever. It's not a personal thing at that moment. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And then I wanted to go back to the movie thing you were talking about, because I was thinking about it. You were talking about movies. You're talking about how people view stuff, how people view movies, and they got maybe stuff that people are doing, their sinful action or whatever, but they're not praising it or anything. I don't even think you need to think about it like it's growing my faith or it's growing my relationship with God, because that's kind of how you mentioned it. But I think if you even just take, it sounds weird, but if you take the God out of the Christian movies and media and stuff like that, that just generally gives you a better understanding of life and a better understanding of like an actual joy-filled life versus the movie that's depicting all of the I don't know, the college parties and like.
Wait, so did you mean to put God in it? Because you said take God out of it.
I'm saying, like, if you have a Christian movie, the Christian movie is made how it is, but say you take out the church scene or you take out the scene where like they're praying or whatever, like there's usually generally a lot more that you can learn about life and what life is actually about, and a lot more good things that you can take out of it, even if you're not like, oh, this is somebody's testimony, or oh, this like person went to church, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Okay, but here's the thing: is with TV shows and movies, is there a line in which, like, I can watch a TV show that, yeah, I mean, maybe it depicts sin in the sense that like it like talks about this unmarried couple having sex. Okay,
Grown-ups.
Grown-ups.
Have you seen Grown-ups?
I don't know if I have.
Oh,
I don't think I
then
have.
maybe don't use that as an example.
Okay. But just like many movies and TV shows depict that. Like, okay, I don't think it's sin to watch a movie or TV show that depicts that necessarily. But at what point does it become like? Is there a point where it becomes objectively sinful that I'm watching something, or is it always personal conviction? I have an opinion on this, but I want to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, that's a good question. I just want to say up the front, I meant to say this at the beginning, but these are things that I would say that I actually struggle with sometimes. I don't struggle with them in a sin way, but I like just struggle with them in thought. Like, I only pretty much exclusively listen to Christian rap or worship music, and I know a lot of Christians don't do that, whether it be like hardcore rap or just like, I don't know, say like country music songs or stuff like that. But I'll listen to a country song every now and then. I'm like, man, I like this song. And like, I don't think there's anything crazy wrong with it. And there's this part in it where they talk about alcohol probably in a way they shouldn't be talking about it. And I'm just like, and I'll be honest, it's like an internal thing that I've been struggling with. Not like in terms of sin thing, if that makes sense, but just like, man, do I need
like
to be
discernment? You mean?
Yeah, do I need to be more strict? Like it's not affecting me, but at the same time, should I be listening to this in general? And then another thing that comes up, I mean, I love watching Marvel movies. I watched Deadpool and Wolverine 2, and it's just like, man, there's like, if you know Deadpool, there's a lot of crude stuff in there. And so it's another one of those things where it's like, man, well, it's not polluting my brain. It's not making me struggle with anything. It's not making me get nightmares. But at the same time, should I really be listening to it? And that's why I say I think most people would make the sanctification justification for listening to it. But yeah, I just want to say that. But my thought would just be, I don't know if there's a direct line besides the hardest line that you need to make is based on personal conviction. And I know that's not the best answer that people want to hear, but it's like if there's something that you're quite literally struggling with, doesn't matter what it is, alcohol, sex, just like, I don't know, different things that movies can depict or TV shows can depict, then you should not be watching that whatsoever. I think it's harder to draw in a direct line, but I think that's the directest line I think you can draw. Personal conviction, and then yeah, never mind.
I don't know if I'm in the same boat as Zeke. Like, I don't know if I've ever actually thought about that, but I feel like I've heard more people talk about it than I have actually my own opinion on it. Like, what were you gonna say?
So what do you mean?
Like, I just feel like I hear people talk about it. Like, I feel like I know some people who are like what we were just talking about, where they're on the one end where it's like super legalistic, and then I feel like I have other people who are just kind of like, well, if it's not leading you into sin, like, it's fine to watch.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, okay, wait. So if I ask these two people on the same show, let's say, they would say completely opposite things. What?
Love violence.
Violence?
Love
no,
Island.
just like in general.
No, I'm saying Love Island is the example.
Oh, Love Island. I thought you said violence. I'm like, what?
Oh no, I think that's like one of the areas you see the biggest split. I also I talked to Kimmy about this. I had a big problem with the show. What was the show? There was
Gilmore Girls?
No, there was this whole show. It was about this. It was, I don't know. It was the one in the summer, and everybody was doing this voting thing on TikTok. Are you team somebody or somebody?
The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yeah. I have a big, like I was talking to Kimmy. I have a big issue with that movie just because
it's a movie, babe.
Or that show. I don't know. I never watched it or cared for it, and I didn't like the people doing stuff on social media. But anyways, people can think I'm a hater. I don't think I'm a hater. I'd say why. There's a lot of people I know that are in real life, and I'm not saying that I'm better than them. I'm not saying my relationship is perfect or anything, but they genuinely have a skewed, incorrect, or just don't know how to be in a relationship in general, and they just struggle with relationships. And then they turn around, their favorite show to talk about nonstop is The Summer I Turned Pretty, which I was just okay, what is this even about? And then I was just like hearing about it, which is basically like, tell me if I'm incorrect, but it's like this love story, which is a love triangle, and it's these people that are going back between this boy and his brother and this other thing and whatever. And I'm just like, whoa, like why? That's one of the examples where a lot of people be like, oh, well, I don't really see an issue with that, but when I know the people and I know their struggles, and then this is the thing that they watch the most or point to their mind the most, or they're saying, oh, I'm team Jeremiah or team this. Sometimes I highly doubt that there's nothing that's slipping into their mind that's changing or altering the way that they're viewing relationships. And that's just one example, but like, I don't know, that's just one that really just rubbed me the wrong way. But
What's your thought? / opinion / not?
Yeah, I think mine, it's mostly opinion. So with TV shows and movies, I think there is stuff that is objectively, if you are doing this as a Christian, you're sinning.
Watching or doing?
Watching.
Oh, watching.
Sorry. Like so I think like if there's a bunch of nudity, I think that's objectively sin. That's like porn, you know? Like literally, like, so there are movies and TV shows that have straight up porn in it, like, and nobody's calling it that, but that's really what's going on. Why would you watch? Like, tell me the benefit in you watching as a Christian. How is it possibly beneficial for you? It's not.
Education.
Sin.
Sorry,
on sex, like that's what I'm saying.
No, it's
like,
because I've heard people say that before.
Yeah,
that's why.
So that's crazy. So for me, it's like.
So that's crazy.
Like, so for me, I think that I can point to that and be like, that's sin. Like, you cannot convince me that this is what God wants you to do. And if you're doing what you know God doesn't want you to do, how is that not sin? So you can try and say like, well, there's no scripture that says I can't like look at that. Which again, like, there is scripture that says that you should not be looking upon anyone lustfully.
What if I'm not looking at them lustfully?
That's a problem if you can look at somebody naked and not have like any sort of lustful thoughts, like some random person that's not your husband or wife, because you're desensitized towards people's like vulnerable states in a way that's scary. Like if you can just like I don't think you should be able to just turn your mind off towards stuff like that. Granted, like I say that, but also in the health field, there is some level of like, you just like, yeah, in health and like clinics and stuff like that, there is some level of you have to turn your brain off and just like treat a problem and not see like take the humanity out of it in a weird way, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I just have had to do that myself. So that's why I'm like, I realize like, okay, there is but I don't want to be like watching a movie or TV show and exposing myself to that for entertainment. That's not like helping somebody. That's like just entertaining myself with what? Nudity? Like that's sin. So, it's hard for me to point to objective lines past that. So here's my subjective opinion is that this is rooted from a quote that I got from Jonathan Plakuta that I think is great, is that, I don't know if he came up with it, but I've heard it from him, is that you should, why are we entertaining ourselves with the things that Jesus died for? So if I'm watching a TV show or a movie and I'm being entertained by something that God is disgusted with, how can that possibly help my fellowship with him? If I'm being entertained by something God is disgusted with, how is that not sin? So even if you can't point to something in the scripture that says, that this is sin, but you're laughing at or finding enjoyment in something that is pulling people to hell, how do you think God feels about that? There's no way that you're fostering and promoting your fellowship with God by laughing at something that people are enslaved to and is dragging them to hell. So that's one side of it, and I don't know. Do you guys have thoughts on that before I keep going? Because I have another thought. But
yeah, where my mind went to about the naked thing, one thing that I think about quite often actually, when I'm picturing, okay, what will help people visualize what a perfect world would look like, or a world where we actually cared for people, we were right in a relationship with other people. And don't ask me why this example comes up, but it's just because it's honestly probably because one of the biggest things I see in the college field is people struggling with lust or having the issue of lust and perverting stuff and all this, and just taking advantage of women and not caring for women in general. And I think of State Street a whole lot. And I think of, say, somehow some woman, even if it was by her own choice, she just ends up on State Street and she's like bare naked. She's just bare naked. Okay. Like, this comes to my mind because I'm like, okay, what a perfect world looks like is for people to not stop, stare, take pictures, take videos, but instead for people to treat her like like Noah's sons treated him. And the world isn't like that. The world is the opposite, where people would want to share that online. People want to keep that in the phone. People would want to use that as a way to exploit them for their own pleasure, their own enjoyment, or their own whatever else you want to call it. But that's what my mind goes to. And the verse for that is Genesis 9, when Noah was drunk and he was laying down, and one of his sons was looking at him and his father and stuff when he was naked, and the other sons came in with a blanket and were walking backwards so they didn't see their father naked and exploit that and stuff like that. And Noah actually said, "Cursed be to Canaan, may he be the slaves of his brothers." And so that's the example that comes to my mind when I think of nudity. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, but if it's not lustfully or whatever," it doesn't matter if you're looking at that person lustfully. But even if somebody is purposefully trying to get themselves exploited, or if they're purposely trying to do whatever, that doesn't give you a reason to kind of like lean into that. Instead, that should be a time where you veer back, take a step back, and be like, whoa, something's not right here, and let me do everything in my right mind that I can do to protect this person and to protect my eyes. It's not just about protecting my eyes. Oh, am I looking at this person with lust? No, it's fine. It's just, okay, I shouldn't be looking at this person's body in general. This should be for them, their husband and God. Does that make sense? But
yeah. To that point, like, going into marriage, I want to be as like physically clean slated from expectations as possible. Like, I want my wife to be the epitome of attraction to me, not because she's literally like the most attractive woman I've seen, but because she's the only woman I've seen naked. And if you're watching, like, obviously, like, for 99.9% of people listening to this, including myself, that's destroyed because of stuff like porn, because of media that depicts people naked, because of seeing it accidentally, whatever. But imagine, like, the beauty of God's intention for marriage is that a man and a woman would like they can say like, I've only seen you naked, so you already epitome of attraction to me by default. Mm-hmm. So it kills comparison, because now your wife, like if I'm in a marriage and my wife knows that she's the epitome of attraction to me because I haven't seen other people naked, then she doesn't have to worry about comparison ever. She doesn't have to worry about being objectified ever, because I chose to love her, and now I'm going to experience the fruit of that in physical intimacy in a way that I can say confidently that only she's getting from me ever. So then she doesn't have to worry about, like, if I'm comparing her while we're having sex to whoever I have sex with, she doesn't have to worry about if I'm comparing her body to whoever I've seen. So that's destroyed for nearly everybody listening to this podcast, I'm sure. So don't watch media that's going to continue to ruin that. Don't say, oh, it's not porn, but then you're looking at, like, even people wearing skimpy stuff in movies and TV shows. It's like, why? Like, don't watch that, you know? Like, if you want to have a good marriage, stay away from that stuff, straight up. Like, I don't know why, like, so don't flirt with that stuff. And for me, I think even when in terms of expectations, broader than relationships, broader than physical expectations, the movies and TV shows you watch will create expectations for you, whether you want them to or not. So if I'm watching TV shows and movies that are depicting dating and marriage, I have positive emotions while I'm watching these TV shows and movies, I'm going to start developing expectations based on what I've seen. And those oftentimes in secular stuff it's not good motivations to be in a relationship. It's not good desires to have in somebody that you're dating. Like, if I'm like, TV shows and movies don't say, oftentimes secular, especially secular ones, obviously, are not saying that what's really sexy and attractive is the fact that my wife or my girlfriend like reads her Bible. Like, how many secular TV shows and movies depict that? They don't. What they say is sexy is this infatuation chemistry that you have for the first few months, that you maintain by having a ton of sex with this person, and you bond with them, and they're really smooth with their words, they're finessing with you. Like there's a lot of things that you are going to start developing expectations for, and then so let's say you're a Christian, and then you enter into a relationship. And you're like, God, why can't I shake these like expectations? It's because you just trained your brain for God knows how long to think that what's sexy and desirable is things that secular TV shows and movies have told you, instead of what God has in store for you. I keep on.
It doesn't even matter what you think is sexy or desirable. It just matters what you've seen. It doesn't take a long time. Imagine you literally have no like understanding. You don't have any experience with sex and anything like that. You're going into marriage clean slated. That's going to look so much different than even if you saw one clip or video, even if it was by accident, that depicted a sexual scene or something like that. That's automatically the only image that you have in your mind, regardless of if you think that's good or not. That's what you view now as sex. And so it doesn't matter what you think is desirable or anything else. And the scripture that always comes to mind when you say that thing about like clean slated and stuff like that is during the summer I was reading, reading through Proverbs, and ever since then, for some reason, the imagery in Proverbs is just cool, so it just sticks out to me. But it's in Proverbs 5: drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the streets, your stream of water in the public squares, let them be yours alone and never to be shared with strangers. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. A loving doe, a graceful deer, may her breast satisfy you always. May you ever be captivated by her love. What that's talking about, it's not talking about water. It's not talking about an actual well. This is talking about love and pleasure right here. And so it's saying that you should not yourself be sharing, but you should also not be divulging yourself in somebody else and somebody else as well. And it doesn't always have to be in a lustful way. I don't want to get too graphic with examples or anything like that, but it's just like if something were happening to somebody I love and they were to be exploited and they were to be in a position where, again, for whatever reason, like they were naked in public or something bad happened, a lot of people's first instincts is to just look or laugh or just whatever, even if it's not in a lustful way again. But if that's somebody that I care about, what I would instantly want everybody to do is to give that person a peace of mind by being like, no, like I'm gonna look the other way. I'm not gonna look at this person, because again, I can't stress enough, even if it's not in a lustful way, that's not what matters. You should be protecting that person and yourself. Stop worrying about just protecting yourself. Oh, well, this doesn't affect me. Well, you know that reason why that one famous actor, I can't remember his name, but he's like, okay,
I just saw a video.
I'm gonna accept roles, but I refuse to lay in bed with another woman or kiss another woman. And what happened, instead of for a while, it was hard for his career, But what happened is he started only getting casted as the villain, and they would just make him kill people and do other stuff. So then he just didn't have any love or interest. But it's because he said, even if it's fake, even if I'm not attracted to this woman, like I can, in a scene, pretend kill 12 people by being a villain. I go home at the end of the day, hey, everybody have a good day. Like I didn't actually kill those people. But he said, even if I didn't love it or enjoy it, I still kissed that woman. I still laid in bed with that woman. And so now when I go home to my wife at night, that's in my mind whether I want that or not. And that's what I've done whether I want that or not. He's like, I don't want my kids seeing that. I don't want other people seeing that. And that's just a perfect example. It doesn't always have to do with lust, but it also has to do with protecting other people. And one of the biggest parts of being righteous is right in relationship with God and others. Loving God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving your neighbor as yourself. You wouldn't want your neighbor looking at you in this way, exploiting you. You wouldn't want your neighbor exploiting your wife, your husband, whatever else it is. So stop thinking that it's only about you and start thinking about the other person as well.
What would you guys say to people who would then justify and say like, oh, I'm watching these shows or I'm watching these movies, but like I'm skipping over those scenes? What would you say? Should they still be watching it?
I think that's better. I think it is. I genuinely, if you are skipping that, I think that's better.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's. I'm not gonna put a line on that. Like I think I don't know. Just be careful. Like I don't.
Yeah. Also, sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I'm done. Yeah.
Well, I thought about Kimmy and I were watching the movie one time. And it's like it just got to a part that was so like it was too much, and so we started to skip over it. But at that point, it's like. And I would say, especially more recently, are just like careful like with the stuff that we're watching, stuff like that. Just because new release and stuff like that, sometimes you'll be watching it, and then all of a sudden there'll be something sexual in it for no reason. It's like this movie was like the most just like comedy, just like chill like family movie or whatever, and then all of a sudden now we're like having an affair with somebody, or now we're just like having a one night stand. It's like weird, whatever. But even at that point where we skip over it, like. Stuff has already started. Stuff like you're not predicting perfectly everything, and so I would still say that there's still some level of just like you got to be careful, because when scenes like this pop up, even sometimes it'll literally cut from a dinner scene to all of a sudden like they're in bed together doing stuff. So you just got to be careful, because you can't all of a sudden be like, okay, I'm gonna be able to skip over this, and you don't want to fall into that mindset of justifying everything. So,
well, you also have to look at it to skip over it. So there's that too.
Yeah, and you can. There's. Do you guys know what that website is called? That
I know exactly what
that rates movies in terms of their like whether or not it's like pure and friendly to.
I know what you're talking about. I thought it was an app.
It might be an app, but I'm pretty sure it's a website.
It makes more sense for it to be a website.
So you can do your research ahead of time. Like if it's like. There's
resources. That's what he's saying.
There's resources ahead of time, but I think bottom line with TV shows and movies is you need to understand that comparison is the thief of joy. And if right now you're not finding a lot of joy in your life because you don't think you have enough success, you're not finding a lot of joy because you're in this relationship and you're like, why do I feel like I want it to look slightly different or want there to be more? And you watch a lot of TV shows and or movies, like you need to like take a step back and look at your life and be like, am I being influenced by these TV shows and movies in a way that's robbing my joy because I'm comparing this person that I've chose to love with the thousands of different examples of couples that I've seen in TV shows and movies? And you definitely don't want to get into marriage and be comparing the person that you've chosen to love physically with the thousands of people that you've seen in TV shows and movies. And all those TV shows and movies are depicting those things as what you need to chase after, when God has said chase after holiness. God has said chase after people who have good character. Movies and TV shows don't really depict that. So like I think in terms of volume, the more of that stuff you watch, the more that you will have an expectation of what a relationship can look like. Don't say I'm going to watch it and then I'm going to not want that when you feel really good the whole movie. If you felt really trash the whole movie, then yeah, you're going to have an aversion to it. But who feels trash watching a movie they chose to watch? Most times, you know? So like these scenes and these like depictions of relationships, not just relationships, but successes too, in terms of chasing after money and stuff like that. Like, TV and TV shows and movies are trying to like get you hooked. And what is more hooking than like sin and fleshly desires that spike your hormones, that spike like emotions? Like what makes more money than stuff like that? Well, very little things make more money than the porn industry for that reason. So obviously movies and TV shows are going to slip in some of that stuff to make you like want that in your own relationships. because they know it's addicting. So if you are struggling with comparison, or you don't have a lot of joy in your relationship, like, you need to stop and consider that you developed expectations from TV shows and movies that did not care about you. Whoever made that movie or TV show did not care about you. They cared about the money they're making from people watching that stuff. So a lot of people right now, like, you want your boyfriend or girlfriend to do XYZ for you, or you wish they would do something different. That has nothing to do with what God wants for you, but it's everything to do with expectations you set from movies and TV shows.
Yeah, I heard a saying that's like, why are we planting seeds for sin?
Yeah.
Also, though, like, wait, were you gonna touch on? What would you guys then, like, we're talking about like secular media with, like, we've been on like this sexual kind of like vibe of it.
Yeah.
But what about then like horror and like that stuff? What do you guys think?
Don't be entertained by things Jesus died for. So I just think, like, so I've heard the argument that horror depicts good winning over evil, so that's why it's, which sometimes, definitely not all of them do that, but
none of them ultimately do.
There are some
ultimately, but not.
There are some spiritual horror movies that, meaning like demonic versus like exorcism horror movies, that where like the good guys, the good exorcists, like defeat the demons or whatever, stuff like that. I mean, like The Exorcist or the Conjuring series kind of does that, I think. Those, like, I don't know, like, but I haven't watched. I've seen like 2 horror movies ever, and I regret both of those because I'm very anti-horror movie. If you want to understand why some Christians are anti-horror movie, I'll tell you the reason why I am is because I don't think there's anything good to dwell on from a horror movie. I don't want to picture what I've seen in a horror movie. Like, again, I don't want to be thinking about that. I don't want to be thinking about people getting slaughtered. I don't want to be thinking about demons, like, indwelling me and possessing me and, like, and making me kill people. Why? I don't want to dwell on that. Like, why do I want to go to bed, like, thinking about that ever again? I don't. So I don't, like, movies. When you have a strong emotional response to a movie, you will think about that movie later and everything you saw and the implications of it. So I don't like horror movies. Also, they do just freak me out. Like, some people can just sit there and take it and, like, they're like, whoa, that's crazy. I, like, genuinely, like, I just can't, like,
Yeah, I'm very anti-horror movie as well, actually. It's not because I'm scared, because I know I'm a prideful way, but I don't think I'm scared. But I'm definitely more sensitive to a lot of the things that secular people or people that aren't Christians aren't. Like, I take absolutely no pleasure in seeing a movie where 50 people just got slaughtered, or where this guy just got tortured, or where this thing just happened. The ones that do scare me, I will say, are the ones that are real. Like, meaning that, like, the ones that, like, play with spiritual stuff that, like, actual goes on and you don't know what's going on in the spirit. Like, that stuff is like, nah. Like the Tarot Card movie, that I'm sure if I watched it, which I don't watch horror movies, I'm sure that would have scared me, because it's stuff that's real that people don't believe or think about, like, playing into the actual world. But yeah, I take absolutely no pleasure in seeing other people suffer. Even, like, I'm the type of person where I'm watching a Marvel movie and, man, Black Widow just got sacrificed for the Soul Stone. Like, man. And you're telling me now I'm watching a movie where there's this person that's running around slaughtering all these people, which, by the way, horror movies aren't, like, super polite about it. They're gory and got all this stuff going on like that. And so, again, I don't want to, nor do I need to picture that stuff. Like, yes, I acknowledge that evil stuff happens in the world and that awful stuff happens in the world. Do I need to watch it, like a remake of it or a rendition of it? No. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that because I think it's a big one too.
Before we move on from TV shows and movies, let's just like honestly, the question is always with a lot of our podcast episodes. The question is not how close, like, what can I do that's secular, that's like, okay, but, like, where's the line so I can, like, know when to turn from that? Like, honestly, ask yourself, like, how can I deepen my fellowship with God? So one thing we're not even talking about, or we haven't talked about yet, is the volume. Like, we've talked about what we're seeing, but the volume. If you are watching TV shows for an hour plus a day, you are wasting your time. I believe that. Sorry, like I don't know if y'all if you do that, like I'm sorry, like, but I just think it's a waste of your time, like because so many people complain about not having enough time in your day, and you're watching just fictional stuff for an hour.
Yeah.
Like even if it's a good show that doesn't have anything sinful. Sorry, I'm peeking bad. My bad. So
He's passionate.
yeah, I just like. It's such a. Here's the thing: is that most people who watch TV shows actually are watching for more than an hour a day. Like they're really like they go to bed before they go to bed. They're watching TV shows and movies for a couple hours, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then you're not in a word for more than like 15, 30 minutes, and you're like, and you get into the Bible the next morning, and you're like, man, like why is this so boring? Like why can I not focus? It's because when your physical Bible cannot compete with the dopamine that gets released when you're watching a really thrilling TV show. It can't compete with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can train your brain to appreciate your Bible much more than that TV show. When you start to strip your flesh of those things and those desires by just not doing it over the course of time and experiencing the fruit that comes from getting into the Word, you will start to desire getting into your Word, praying and worshiping more than TV shows and movies. And you will start to watch TV shows and movies and feel like you're kind of wasting your time. That's honestly how, there are things I struggle with, but this is something where as I've gotten closer to God, if I sit and watch a TV show for too long or more than one movie at a time in a day, I start to feel convicted that I'm wasting my time because I feel like I'm not gaining anything from this. Like I don't, how is my relationship with God better because of this? I'm like, there's nothing more important than that because there's nothing else I take with me when I die. So I want to be able to get to the end of college, get to the end of like my life, like whatever stages of my life, I want to be able to look back and say that I developed myself spiritually. TV shows and movies barely ever do that. What can do that is like a sermon or a podcast. So like train yourself to appreciate things of God more than things of this world that don't give you any spiritual benefit whatsoever.
Yeah.
There was like this quote that I heard that's like you should, because we were created by a creator who was always creating, always whatever, we should always be creating more than we're consuming. And do you guys ever notice how like literally, well, it's kind of what you just said, but do you ever notice how like when you're creating something and you're like doing it, you just feel like so fulfilled? When you're consuming things, especially with like social media, you're just like, wow, I'm literally not living out my purpose of what God is calling me into or how I'm supposed to be living my life or whatever. I always think that's so interesting.
Yeah, that goes for everything too. I always say
Yeah,
that, but it's because
it
everybody's
does.
like, "Oh, well, I'm not like creating videos or a movie or something." like no, it's whatever art or gift God has talented you with, or something that He's giving you a passion for. It can be a nurse, it can be a doctor, it could be anesthesiologist, a basketball player, like whatever else it is. Like when you're doing that, you're honoring God way more than if you're enjoying something else. And on the enjoying stuff, I agree with you, but I disagree at the same time. Only because I know how you meant it. But I think there are a lot of people that will definitely take a lot of the stuff that we say literal. And I don't think it's literally bad to watch something for more than an hour, at least me personally. Especially like, for example, I had an exam at 8 a.m. this morning, woke up, went to the final exam, came back to my room, and I put on an Avengers movie while I was cleaning I haven't seen it. It was the Thunderbolts. It was pretty good.
You haven't
And
seen Thunderbolts?
No, I still haven't seen that. We
Damn.
got Disney Plus canceled, and we haven't gone to the movie theater in a while. It's
It's a
just
good
been
movie,
like
yeah.
saving money, whatever. But yeah, I was watching that while I was doing that. So that's the only reason I say I agree you should not be doing it like crazy. Especially, like, it's not every day that I need to sit down in the middle of my day and watch a movie. Absolutely not. Kimmy and I sync up movies and stuff like that when we're going to bed. But yeah, because during the summer, I definitely would sit here in my dorm and just like watch stuff because I'm like, man, it's summer. I don't know what to do. I got nothing to do. And then I would get to the end of my day and be like, dang, I just watched like a whole season of that show. Like, and I would do the math in my head and be like, yo, like what could I have done during that time? So I
It
definitely
adds
agree
up.
with you, but I just wanted to say because I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't mean it literal, but I know that there are for people for sure.
Like the
regardless.
1 hour thing?
Yeah,
Yeah. I think I said that because if you're watching an hour, like I'm saying consistently every day,
that's fine.
like this is kind of, this is my opinion. Like this is not
Yeah.
my opinion is that like most people, like if you had a problem with what I just said about the hour a day thing, but you are not consistently in your word, then you have no merit to talk to me about this. Like I'm not saying that I'm perfectly consistent in my work 'cause I'm not. But what I'm trying to say is like if there's a reason that you're not participating well in a spiritual discipline, like getting in your word, praying intentionally, like giving time to worship God, pouring into other people, like if you're not like if you're struggling to be consistent with any of those things, and you had a problem with me saying that you shouldn't watch TV shows for more than an hour a day, then what do you think God thinks? Like does God feel prioritized in your life? If I looked at your life, if I looked at your week, and I had to figure out what you love the most, would I say God? Like if I looked at every minute of your week, would I say this person loves the presence of God more than anything? So don't come on. Like if you're watching a movie every day, 2.5. I love watching movies. I love movies. I always feel when I watch a movie, I feel like super sentimental and wholesome in my spirit afterwards. I don't know why. Like straight up. Like any movie, almost any movie. It doesn't matter what it was about. But when I watch it afterwards, I just feel really warm. I feel warm in my soul. And I want to tell everybody how much I love them, or how, seriously, it's weird. So I love movies. I don't watch a movie every day though, because that's a waste of time. That is such a waste of time. That's 2.5 hours. I need to, again, I feel like that. You might not understand why I'm saying this, but you will understand if you start to fall in love with the presence of God. You will. You will start to be like, I'm only satisfied in this. And when I start to spend way too much time doing something that isn't filling me spiritually, I need to run back to God, because that's what actually, so if you want to experience it, you want to actually step into that where you start to find pure joy in doing things that are holy and spiritual disciplines, then you need to start setting up physical boundaries to cut yourself off from watching TV too much. Set physical boundaries, and it will be a slow process. It's like something I said before is eating healthy food to start is not going to hit the same as all that sugary stuff you've been eating. But if you abstain from sugar for long enough, you won't desire it anymore. You just won't. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with this stuff. You will not desire to sit there and watch TV for 2.5 hours if you abstain from it for a long time and find fruit in getting into the Word. You won't. So that's the volume thing. We haven't even been talking about this podcast, but now I'm happy we're getting into that. And it honestly bleeds even into this conversation about social media too, mm-hmm. which we plan to talk about a lot of different media. I don't know how much we're going to get into it, but absolutely, this bleeds into social media heavily, because that's honestly way more prevalent than the TV show movie stuff.
Also, by the way, if you watched a 2-hour movie every day for a year, you'd be wasting 30 days.
30 days of time?
Yeah.
How many hours is that?
730.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Wait, you're really good.
That was
you
crazy.
just did that math.
Wait, actually?
Did you see my phone?
Wait.
Yeah, I did 730 divided by
730 hours.
730 hours.
That's insane.
You said a 2-hour movie every day?
You could you could become a master at an instrument starting from ground zero in 730 hours for sure. An hour a day for 2 years.
2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours.
An hour a day for 2 years. That's why
Sorry, for 2 years. My bad.
We missed the 2 years.
2 hours a day for a year, you will be a master at anything. Anything you put your mind to. So why do you want to be a master at movies? Be a master at the Word, bro. Be a master at praying.
Or something that's actually not in an offensive way. I like movies, but be a master at something that you can actually use in the world for either your betterment or as a betterment of somebody else or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can learn. But let's go. Okay, let's go to the idea of rest in Hebrews. Rest in Hebrews 3 to 5 is talked about a whole lot. Finding ultimate rest in Christ. Talking about Jesus being our high priest and anything like that. How much more fulfilling does it feel when you've done an honest, I'm somebody who I just love doing honest work. I love working on my hands. If somebody gave me a shovel like Zeke, could you help all these people shovel? I'm just saying, I just love being able to look back and be like, hey, I put my effort into that. And so how much better does it feel sleeping or resting or chilling? Even when we hang out, it feels so much, we were just talking about this earlier. It feels so much better when you can do all of your work and work hard and get everything done. And then at the end of the day, you're actually able to enjoy somebody's presence or enjoy a movie or enjoy sleep even. You don't feel good going to bed oh, what did I do today? I watched a season and a half of this show and I ate a meal and now I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. Yeah, it's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels so much more fulfilling finding the rest after completing something. And in Hebrews, the author is challenging the Jews hey, live out your faith to completion, make it to the end so that you might that you might find ultimate rest in Christ. And he was saying how a lot of people didn't find rest, and he's pointing them to how to find rest. And so likewise, we can apply all of this stuff, we can apply to our life on a smaller level. So what am I doing with my day? Am I able to actually go back I love going back to my futon or my bed at the end of the night in my dorm, just being like, man, you know what? That was a good day. And I often find myself thinking, even yesterday when I was at work, I had this interaction with somebody where I was talking about God briefly. And it's those things where it's like, okay, if the sum of my day, if the sum of the stuff that I did, God had me doing just so I can talk to this one person, that's amazing. And I was like, it's not part of my job description, but the people didn't like shovel the snow where we were set up, and so we couldn't put down our pallets and stuff like that. So I took a shovel and I went to one of the workers, I found a shovel, I just started shoveling all that stuff. And that stuff just is satisfying to me because I'm like, man, I'm doing like good work. And what I'm thinking about while I'm doing it is like, okay, I'm not doing this to get praise. I'm not doing this for whatever, but I do like when people look at me and be like, okay, what is different about this guy's work ethic? Because the reason why I do this stuff to the best of my ability is because of God. Like Paul's not joking when he says, whether you eat or drink, do it all for the glory of God. So
yeah, rest is better when you find it in Jesus. Like it's okay to rest with movies and TV shows. That I do that. Like if I have a day for the first time in a long time where I just like have a lot of free time in my day, sometimes I do watch a movie and I enjoy it. But if that's all I'm doing, if that's my way of finding rest instead of trying to learn how to find rest in Jesus through spending time in his presence, it's like healthy food. Your soul is going to be better when you're eating healthy spiritual food instead of pure junk. Like, seriously. Yeah. You're allowed to have junk food as a physically healthy person. I can eat candy every once in a while. I can eat junk food every once in a while. It has absolutely no nutritional benefit to my soul, but I can but I can enjoy the taste of that and eat it every once in a while. But if my lifestyle is defined by healthy food, I will feel better all the time. And I can still get away with having candy every once in a while, but if my lifestyle is defined by healthy food, I'll feel better. So if you struggle with anxiety, depression, any sort of thing where it's burdening your soul, and you have not found joy in eating the healthy food of the word, of prayer and worship, then you haven't tried enough to fix your anxiety, depression, anything that's like troubling your soul. Like fall in love and be satisfied with spiritual things over media that's not doing anything for you spiritually.
One thing that I want to talk about with each category is I actually want to share a personal, you guys can if you want to, but I want to share a personal sin thing that somebody might be able to resonate with. The TV and the movies, we pretty much exclusively talked about violence and lust or sexual things, stuff like that. But I just want to share, it's not always everything that looks so apparent. Oh my gosh, we know that sex outside of marriage is bad, but we're still watching it. For me, I love watching movies. Kimmy can tell you, I'm a sentimental guy. I get that same sentiment, and I'm also that person that's like the nerd where when a bunch of superheroes come together in a movie, I'm like, yo, let's go! Like I get the chills. And then when it's like an amazing family movie, I'm just like, oh man, it makes you just want to like hug people and stuff like that. But one of my struggles, and it was a silent struggle for a little bit, but then I really noticed it when I got the best feeling ever. I was working actually for the arts. Like my job is so awesome. I was watching all these bands perform that like we kind of grew up on and stuff like that, and artists and really top artists now. And I'm driving home, and we were set up like right in front of the stage. I'm driving home, and I'm like playing the song again, and I'm on just such like a high. I'm just like feeling so good, and I'm like, why am I feeling so good? Because I just started thinking about all the different ways and the stories that they were sharing and how my life can be amazing too and great too and everything like that. So my struggle was I would watch these movies and I started to idolize the American dream. And I've shared that before with you guys. I think I might have said that on the podcast before. But I look at these families, or I look at this movie where it's an amazing movie that progresses. He gets the girl or whatever. They get married and they have a wonderful house together. And like, I look forward to getting married and living together and starting a family. But I started to put it on a pedestal where that's what I started to look forward to. Okay, how can I work towards this now? And for a while, it was like a conflict for me in the beginning of my college career. Like, okay, I want to pursue this career because this is what I literally looked up jobs that could make me the most money. And I literally was like going to do that. Then I got to college and it's like, okay, no, I actually want to go into science. And so that's less, but I can do this stuff and whatever. And then God called me into ministry and that totally changed everything. But yeah, I just want to say the sin struggles don't always have to look like something super vulgar or explicit or anything like that. Sometimes it can be stuff that seeps into your life or into your brain or into your spirit that you start to desire. And that's why you have to be careful with how you're watching stuff, because if I was 24/7 watching that stuff or chasing after that experience, I promise you, I wouldn't have noticed it like I noticed it in that moment. But yeah, let's talk about, like we talk about TV shows and movies. Let's talk about social media, stuff like that. That's very present in Gen Z.
Everywhere. It's everywhere. Yeah. You can't escape it. Yeah. Literally.
So what's sin and what's not sin on social media? I think it's just very similar to movies and TV shows, which I want to back up. So the audience that we're hoping that this reaches is not Christian. So like talking to an unbeliever, like if you're watching this and you're like, okay, I want to understand how Christians view social media. I'm gonna tell you how I think Christians should view social media. I think that there are things, like I said, any sort of nudity or anything that's essentially porn, like sin. Don't do that. So like, why? So if you're a non-believer, you're like, why do they feel like that? Like, why can't I just see something and make it about just that and not like now try and apply it to all my life? Like I can unbeliever might hear this and be like, well, I can look at that stuff and dissociate. We've already touched on it, but again, with social media, especially short form content, where you're just mindlessly like, but you are developing expectations that you do not want to drag into a marriage. So that's why Christians view it like that. That's why God, I think, has set principles like that. It's because He knows better, and science has proven it, like through everything we said in that porn episode too. So, so that's the nudity stuff and just sexual whatever. But then outside that, like, I think, again, like you can idolize success and idolize things through social media. Like, meaning I can see something on social media and strongly desire that more than desiring God and what He has in store for me. That's idolization. That's sin. If I'm a non-believer, I'm like, why is it bad to desire success over desiring like my relationship with God? Like, why can't I kind of just do both? Like, because we as Christians believe that when you like trust something else's ability to give you joy more than God, that you are idolizing that thing and you're not giving God an opportunity to give you even better fruit. Now, it's not about what God can give you, but there are positive consequences to fostering a beautiful fellowship with God, because you're going to give Him glory, and He wants to be glorified by you because He knows that out of Him being glorified, you will experience actual life. So He knows that. That's why He asks us to glorify Him. So then you can't like be a Christian that's like idolizing success, relationships, money, and whatever through your social media content, and at the same time be satisfied in God. And then you're going to sit back and ask, like, why am I so like anxious about my life, or why am I so stressed? It's like, because your social media is about like how much money you can make, or all these fancy cars or houses or like women and men and whatever. Like, you're just not giving God an opportunity to give you better fruit. You're not. And He's promised that His way is better. He's promised that if you actually allow yourself to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you're going to experience fruit from that. Like, He says that in the same chapter in Romans 12 before He starts talking about spiritual gifts and ministry. I think for a reason. You need to be transformed by the renewing of your mind before you start saying like, oh God, I want to be used by you. But then your social media feed is filled with crap. Sorry.
I know you have strong thoughts about social media, Camila, too.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like social media has always been like an up and down for me, because like I did it for like other companies for a long time. So I feel like I was constantly on it and consuming. And I think what's interesting is I was talking to my grandma one time, and she's not a Christian, but she was saying like, she just randomly said this. She was like, we were not made to consume all of this stuff, see all of these people's lives all at one time. And we were talking about like relationships, and she was like, your generation is so worried about finding the perfect person, or if this is the one person. And it's like, she literally was basically saying, you found somebody that you grew up with, that you could tolerate, you marry that person and you make it work. You have kids young and you do the whole thing. And I was like, just like making that into a biblical sense too. Like, there are some biblical things about that, but I just thought that was so interesting, where it's like, we're constantly comparing our life stage to people. We're constantly compared. Like, I especially compare, like, me and Ezekiel have been engaged for a while. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're engaged too long, or we're taking too much time with this and X, Y, and Z. And it's just like, the only reason why I'm able to compare that is because of social media. I'm seeing other people have a different timeline, have a faster timeline than we are. And that's because you're leaving room for that comparison, which we were talking about as a thief of joy. And so I feel like social media, there's definitely some like pros to it, because you can spread God's word faster. But then you also have, I personally think there's more cons to social media than there is pros to social media. I could be like persuaded differently for sure, but I just like I don't see as much fruit in social media as like I would expect to see it, especially just having it be such an app that is like, you can touch any person from a different side of the world at any time, like within seconds. Like, you think that brings so much fruit, but I feel like it almost just leads, like, you know how many times I've mindlessly scrolled on and wasted so much more probably than 2 hours a day. Like, I've definitely wasted more than 30 days of my life for sure, just scrolling. And then you like continue scrolling, and it gives you like, do you need a break? And then you scroll past the break, and then you see like this horrible video of like an animal dying or something, and then your entire mood just like changes. It's like, that is not how we're supposed to be wired. Like, we're also not supposed to see all this bad stuff happening all the time. where you're constantly in a fear of worry, and we wonder why we have so much anxiety. It's because like that's all the media ever covers. So we then think to ourselves, how bad is this world? Which it is bad. There's so much sin. We live in a fallen world. But it's like then we're hyper fixating on it, and we can't even see God's goodness of how he's moving and how he's working. So now we're blaming all of those things on God, and now we have a false view of God. I just think it's so like just all wrapped together. And I'm not even trying to be a social media hater because I really like social media. Yep. But I feel like you have to, there's definitely like a line, and I feel like I'm playing with like where that line is for me personally and where my convictions are with it, because it's like, I was just talking with my disciples about this. It's like, you notice more about life and more of God's presence when you're not on social media, because you're doing the thing that God created you to do, which was like exist in his presence. How much harder is it for you to exist in his presence? Even if you're only following Christian creators on the app, you're still comparing your life to them. That's the hard part. And you're already doing that in person with your friends in your community. That's already a battle for you. So why are you adding more onto that too? And especially like what you were talking about, Caleb, with like the followers and the money and everything. It's like, that's literally like $1 trillion business. It's going to be with just social media. And why? Because people are so addicted to it. And that's because they idolize everything about it. People are lying on social media just to get you to buy the next thing. And then you can go into like materialism and all of this other stuff. So not to be a hater, but low key, kind of, I feel like I've switched more to like being a social media like hater more. But.
That's really good. The thing that stood out to me the most you said is the stuff about the wedding. Because I'll just be so honest. You know how much it sucks, like, every now and then. I mean, you look up one thing.
Wait, can I say one more thing so I don't forget? I also think you start, like, comparing, like, for a wedding, for example, like, you almost pause stages of your life because they're not as good as, like, you know they should be, in quotes. Like, with us, it's like, oh, I don't want to have a wedding in the winter because the pictures aren't going to be good enough to post on Instagram. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I've thought that multiple times. And I'm just like, where does that thought even come from? Like, how do I even know that that's a thought? And that's literally because of social media. I had to add that.
That's real.
But please go. Keep going.
No, yeah, I was just going to say it, like, sucks. Well, I was going to say, first of all, you look one thing, I hate that. You look one thing up online, oh, wedding venue. All of a sudden, every single ad, all these videos I get is like wedding stuff. And it's like, okay, my phone is definitely watching me. CIA is definitely listening to me. But you scroll, and I'll just be honest, it really sucks because especially, I don't know, it was never an issue for me. But I mean, I see these videos pop up of these people that have this picture perfect wedding on this picture perfect day and all of this money behind it and all this stuff like that. And I literally sit there sometimes and be like, dang, like, I can't afford to bring my future wife that joy that this person's getting on their day. And I start to think on that stuff and dwell on that, which is not good, nor is it the truth, because Kimmy is somebody who I'm so blessed. Sometimes some areas it's a challenge, but somebody who's so unmaterialistic to where sometimes it definitely challenges me and it pushes me. And so I don't have to worry about that, but it's only a worry because I see it and now I'm imprinting it on myself. Like, dang, they did this at that wedding. They had a wedding in Greece on top of in Rome on top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Like, oh my gosh.
Pizza?
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't do that. And so that was definitely a pain point for me for a little bit. And I'd be lying if I said that sometimes I still don't see videos and like, dang, well, I wish I could do that, but I don't know. But sorry.
I just think it's crazy. Like, just as you're talking, just thinking about how, like, literally we will, like, pause certain stages of our lives or replan our stages of our lives around how it will look on social media because that people care about that so much. Like, that's insane to even think about.
It used to at least just be because, oh my gosh, like, which is still not a good thing, but it used to at least be, oh my gosh, I just want an amazing wedding. But now it's, okay, I want an amazing wedding so I can have amazing photos so I can post it to other people.
It used to be like memorable pictures to put in a scrapbook to look back with your kids. Now it's like the most extravagant
$10,000 videographers. Oh my gosh!
Like, not even just with weddings though, but even just like people who, when they announce like pregnancy, now it's a full photo shoot.
Yeah.
And you're modeling like your child before they're born and then after they're born. It's like, what? Yeah. It's no hate to people who do that, but I'm just like, it just seems so crazy.
It robs joy.
Yeah.
Comparison robs. If you think comparison is prevalent with TV shows and movies that you're watching, like, think about social media when you're seeing what real people that aren't actors are doing. Like that's going to rob your joy. It's just, even if it's just like, I'm happy you said that. You are not vindicated by being on social media for 2 hours. Like, I won't put numbers on it. Sorry, because that's gonna. Sorry, I think that's too much. But let's say, I don't know. I won't put a number on it. But you are not vindicated by spending a quarter of your day on social media because it was Christian stuff. I honestly don't think that.
What does vindicated mean?
Like you're like how do I put this? Maybe that's not the right word, but like
he's basically saying like it's not justifiable. Just
because,
it doesn't justify it. I looked at Christian
okay.
stuff, so I can spend 8 hours of my day watching it.
Yeah. So I just, it's God didn't create you to consume Christian content on social media. He created you to appreciate his presence, and Christian content can point you to things that are good and healthy that you should implement in your spiritual life, but your spiritual life should not be Christian content on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have to limits.
Set some limits.
Yeah.
Well, you said it.
Yeah, no, like set limits. Find ways to stick to it. Don't set a screen time limit that you have the password for, and you can just breach it whenever you want. If you want to have a firm limit, then actually have a firm limit that you can't just breach. Mm-hmm. So some people don't need that. Some people really are not on social media a lot and they don't need limits. I need limits. I think most people need limits. I find it hard to believe that most people can absolutely control themselves on social media because I just don't see that. I don't see that often. So my roommate has my screen time password and I can't be on all social media for more than 30 minutes. Why do I do that? Not because I'm super holy, but because I'm super sinful. And if I don't have that, I'm going to be on social media for way longer than I need to.
That's a good phrase. Not because I'm super holy, because I'm super sinful.
Like, I'm trying to be more holy, but I am like, my desire to be on social media longer than I should is really high, and it happens frequently if I don't have a good limit. It's not a matter of like, you don't have the self-control to just get over it. It's like, correct, I don't. that's
the point. Yeah.
But I will say, like, after having these type of limits on my phone for like the last couple years, like on and off, like now when I don't have the limit, I am on social media less than before I ever used limits because I found a greater satisfaction in things besides social media. So I do, just because of the limits, I actually do not desire to be on social media for a really long time. It wasn't always like that, but limits caused me to get to that point. I still think like an hour or 2 hours is too much for me. So like there was a time when I could easily do 4 or 5 hours, like, but now like I can still do 1 or 2, but I don't want to do that much. I want to keep it under 30.
Yeah. When I was in high school and Tom Holland got casted as the new Spider-Man, I watched the Spider-Man movie and I remember leaving the theater and at the end of the Spider-Man movie be like, dang, I'm so serious. I literally left in the car and I was like, I am not a Marvel superhero right now in high school. My life sucks. Like, if I don't become, like, I'm not even kidding. I literally thought that at a point. And I was like, yo, if I'm not doing this, then my life sucks. And then, I don't know, even a year ago, I found out that, like, IShowSpeed is, like, 18, the same age as me. And then I see where his life is at. And at the point was like, oh, my gosh, like, what am I doing in my life? And those are also points and times I can realize, like, you can pinpoint, you can look at my life and be like, oh, when Zeke saw that or when Zeke found that out, his life redirected from now what he was doing for God and what he was perfectly content in to now being like, okay, how can I get more, do more? And I bring this up again. I brought this up in Identity, but at Docs, I love what Chris said one weekend. He said, whatever has your eyes has your heart, and whatever has your heart has your hands. And so my eyes were now looking at these people that were famous, these people that had money. It's not because I wanted to be famous, but I just loved the idea of being able to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, with like no like real responsibilities. And then, so that's what I was looking at. And before I knew it, that captured my heart. Like, oh, I want that, I crave that, I desire that. And because I desire that, now my hands are moving like I want that. Instead of my hands moving for God and serving people and using my talents and using my gifts, maybe still making money, but making less money, my mind is so focused on, okay, how can I work to feed into this desire that I now have? And I think that just shows like the two major themes of social media and influencing and stuff like that is covetousness. How do you say
covetousness?
Covetousness? Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Coveting. I'm just gonna say that. Coveting. No, that's right. But the word doesn't sound right.
Okay.
No, coveting and lust, I think, are like two of the I don't even need any research. They're probably the two biggest issues when it comes to social media. And we talked about coveting a lot. And Kimmy, I kind of want to hear, because I know you have thoughts specifically. I'm sure you do as well. But I want to hear your thoughts more on like specifically like possibly like the lust, or maybe not even like that deep, but even when we talk about modesty and stuff like that.
Okay. Something I want to add before that, though, also is, well, actually, in congruence, is that
Conjunction.
similar?
I think you had it. Yeah.
The same. Is when you're there, I feel like there's somebody out there who's probably like, okay, like I'm on social media, but I'm not like scrolling on social media. I just have it for like my friends, just to follow my friends, and then I just look at all of their stuff. Okay. Here's my thing. Why are you relying on your connection to your friends through an app instead of texting them, being like, hey, what's up, whatever? That's my first thing. My second thing is then on top of that, it's like, what are your friends? Like, I think a lot of people will justify like my friends, this gets into your modesty thing. It's just like, oh, my friends, like I know them, I talk to them, I hang out with them, we talk, whatever, their social media, da. And you think that like because they're your friends, I'm going to follow them and it'll be all chill and whatever. Okay. Let's say your friend posts like for you guys, shirtless pic, for girls, a bikini pic right in front of your face. And you're like, this is your good friend, right? And you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, now you're comparing yourself to somebody you know. And now it's like a whole other thing, because it's not just somebody like randomly on the internet where you're just like, oh, they have a really good body, scroll. It's like, oh, they have a really good body, and I also know that they have a really good family, and I also know all this stuff. So now you're not just comparing with like their looks and all this stuff as well, but you're also comparing now with like on top of that their life. But going more into what I was just saying, like I think people would justify that of like, oh, I'm just following my friends, and I'm like, well, if your friends aren't posting like Christian stuff either, I feel like that's also.
And before you get into what he asked on that point, is your friend gonna feel more loved and seen by you commenting on a post of theirs, or by you texting them asking them, hey, what's going on in your life? Like, like let me know, and having a conversation with them. But isn't it funny that I feel like girls, especially girls, like almost exclusively girls more than men, they comment, but like everything that has to do with liking and commenting what you're saying and those things, like what you're posting specifically, like women just overthink that. Like
yes,
to the point of anxiety.
Yeah.
And so if you weren't so hyper fixated on how you're commenting on a social media post, and instead you just text us, if you didn't have social media, you'd be better off, because then you just text that person how you doing. No anxiety. You just texting them about how you're doing, what's going on in your life. And instead of having to like see it on social media and not think about how am I going to comment in a way that they're going to appreciate and feel loved and seen. So that's why you start like, I feel like that's why there's, I don't know, like just like all these spams of comments and stuff like that. It's like, I need to make sure that she knows that I really love this. Text her, bro. Like, I don't know.
So it becomes like something you're doing for show. And the answer to your question, sadly, a lot of people would definitely answer the comment. I would rather have 50 people comment under my post than 50 people text me. I guarantee you, I'm sure there's plenty of people that we know that would say that.
But it's all also for like the presence of like, oh my gosh, look at how many people commented on my post and how many people like me. Like now everyone's going to see how many people like me and commented on my post. You know? So it's like a whole, and it's like so stupid. Sorry. Last thing. And it's just so stupid to me, because I've started to realize like every single girl post, you look in the comments, you're so gorge, OMG, so pretty, heart eyes.
I don't know why.
What is happening? I don't know why. I'm also saying like I'm a victim of this. Like I will literally do the same thing and post it, and you literally are just like, what? I just posted what everyone else just posted, and that literally probably what the heck. Anyways, but back to your modesty question. What, can you ask it again? I'm so sorry.
Like, what do you think about modesty on social media?
Okay.
This is a whole,
Guys, I'm gonna be so real. I think if you're posting a bikini picture on your social media to live, breathe, even if it's just like a little story that's gonna go away, absolutely not. I think that is just like, I don't know if I can confidently be like that's sin, but I will say like that is so disrespectful to your future husband or your future boyfriend, whatever, or if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. I think that is so disrespectful. Personally, I also, as somebody who follows people, I'm like, I also don't want to see that, because even if it's like a girl looking at another girl and you're not necessarily like lusting over them, you're still comparing yourself to them. You're still looking at them being like, oh my gosh, this person has abs, or this person looks like this. You still are. You just cannot convince me that there's just no way you can convince me that you're looking at a photo of a girl and you're not just like, oh my gosh, her arms are smaller than my arms. Like there's just absolutely no way. Because I think we were just always programmed from the beginning. Like there's just no way. I really don't think there's a pure way.
But are you saying it? So you know a lot of people, and I feel like I could confidently say that there's people that would say I'm not comparing.
Why?
I don't think that everybody is.
Okay, then then if that's the case, then why are you posting a photo of you half naked on the internet that your grandparents are gonna see, that your cousins are gonna see, like your whole family's gonna see that,
or your children,
your children are gonna see that.
Like,
and then it's also like if then from the posting side, like let's say I posted a bikini picture, right, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just posting this because like not for like male validation, not for women validation, like whatever. Then you're posting it. Then you're literally posting it because you think you look good, and you are posting it then for validation. You're posting it because you want people to be like, oh my gosh, Gorge, you look so good, all of this stuff. Where it's like, okay, you can just be like, wow, I look really good in this picture and save it in your camera roll. Like, why do we have to share that with everybody else? Like I'm genuine. Like sometimes I'm not trying to be a hater, because I have friends who post bikini pictures and I have not had conversations with them about it. But I think my number one thing is like if I posted a bikini picture, I feel like that'd be so disrespectful to you. Like I would take myself out of the equation at that point, where it's like I just feel like you're exposing yourself so much of like what you were saying earlier, Caleb, like that you're literally supposed to go into marriage like having nothing in your head, no expectation, so that it is so fulfilling because of the Lord.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, I just feel like I've seen it in other people, and especially people I know, or even if it's like, I would even go as far as like bikini pics where they're just like the top up. I'm like, that's still the same thing for me personally. Like, I'm just like, that's the same thing. But I was talking with my discipler about gym culture and how that is also something that's so different, because it's like people will post gym content, and this person grew up being like, oh, my parents were bodybuilders, so I view it so much different. I see like, look at how much hard work and effort they put into like getting to where they're at. And I was like, well, now there's a whole other can of worms that's open for me, because I'm like, okay, that's great, but I still don't understand, like, I don't know, the whole gym thing, because I bet somebody was just thinking that. That's why I wanted to bring it up. I don't know how we like if I have to be like intellectually like the same, I would be like, I don't want to see gym pics either. But people
like
would,
sports bra culture type thing.
Yeah, but I don't know how like I specifically would say.
Well, yeah. Well, let's not start talking about like what they're wearing, because that's a different podcast. But then I feel like for the social media side of it, like, can you explain though, if I'm like, why an unbeliever should agree with anything you just said? Like, just maybe you did kind of say it, but like I just can see a non-Christian hearing all that and being like, I mean, that's your values. Like, I don't care. Like, why should this also apply to the life of someone who's not a Christian? The principle that you just said. I
don't know if this answers your question, but I just don't understand the benefit. Like, if I'm a non-believer and I'm like watching this and I'm like, okay, Kimmy, you have this like strong, weird conviction about whatever. It's like, but actually though, like I remember in high school, I would post bikini pictures and I would just do it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I look fire in this. Half the time you don't even look the same, like in real life. Like you're posting it specifically because you think you look good in this specific picture and you want to be glorified. And I think that's like a whole other thing too, where if you're a non-believer and you're watching this and you're like, to answer also your question, it's like, why do you care so much about the way that you look in nothing, basically? Like, why is that such a hard pressing issue for you? Like, genuinely. And I think that's because you're searching for something in the wrong place. You're searching for male validation. You're searching from like your friends to like you, or like your comments, or maybe your like count to go up. I don't know. I just don't like, what is the purpose behind it is what I would ask the non-believer, because you just really can't convince me that you're posting it for any other reason except to be like praised.
And maybe they are, and they're like, yeah, that's I am. Like, I want people to see how good I look, and I like it when people compliment me. Like, and I just want to tell that person, if that's you, like, that pales in comparison to the love and appreciation that the Father can give you, like the Holy Spirit. Like, God wants to give you like unexplainable peace through what he says about you. And if you keep chasing after what other people like say and think about you through social media, it pales in comparison, and it gives you high highs and low lows, and it makes you try and slave and burden and work for people's appreciation by like, man, how can I like edit this picture to make myself look better? How can I like, which picture should I post? Which shouldn't I post? But do you know that the Father loves you because he created you? Can you undo that? No. You know? So like God created you. So what's more alleviating of burdens? What is more like stress relieving than sitting in the appreciation of the Father instead of what social media can give you through posts and stuff that's trapping people into complimenting you, you know?
Yeah.
One more thing. I also think it's so important to realize as well that I didn't realize like during this phase, y'all, okay, I'll admit something. I used to be one of those people who like posted thirst traps. Like, okay.
Most people do and they don't say it. So
yes, literally all throughout high school. And I thought I was like up there, you know, and it's so embarrassing. But I think what people don't, like what I did not understand is like I am affecting somebody else's view of a way that God made it. Like I'm affecting that, how they're seeing that based on like the way that I'm acting. I mean, especially like now just being a Christian and in discipleship, like I'm seeing that. I'm seeing how like my actions are affecting the way that the people that I'm discipling view certain things. So that's why it's like you're hold to a better, anyways. But I'm like, okay, if I was posting like a bikini picture and it was like the one picture that was like specifically like the best one and you post it, every other girl, like you're affecting the way that they see themselves now. And it's like that is so underlooked because you're thinking so much about yourself that you're not now thinking about how you're affecting other people or feeding into other people's temptation or sin. I feel like we talked a little bit about that, but I feel like that's so missed. Like people just don't think about that.
Yeah, and it's not like I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says.
Wait, can I add one more thing?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I also with the bikini pictures is like, why are we leaving room for the mind to wander? Like just genuinely, like that's so like you just saying that out loud just is so weird. Like why are we even leaving room for that? Okay, you can go.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. What I was gonna say is I don't care what anybody says. It's not just a spiritual thing. It's not just a spiritual conviction thing, or even this relationship with God thing. That's the most important in everything. But if you're a non-Christian, you're still trying to even understand on the basic level. Okay, but what about this relationship stuff? Would you rather? I don't know anybody who's even non-Christian that would say this. But would you rather have 100 guys, maybe even 1,000 guys, if you have enough followers, swooning over your bikini pics and liking it and maybe screenshotting it or saving it, or maybe their eyes are wondering? Or one guy that you know is completely devoted to you and one guy that just texts you or talks to you in person and compliments you and says, hey, you're beautiful. Like, I love the way you did your hair today. Which one would you rather have? Because most of the time people chase after this validation from these 1,000 guys because just to be quite frank, there are guys out there that do go into relationships just for somebody's body and to hurt somebody. And so now they're like, okay, like all guys are evil or all boys are bad and all this other stuff. And then they get into this thing where now they're pushing themselves into this category where now they're welcoming like more guys that just like them for their physical appearance and for a sexualized physical appearance instead of somebody who actually wants to pursue them for who they are, their character, the things that they're interested in, and hopefully ultimately their relationship with God and their values that they have in their life. But it's not just a spiritual thing. Like, yes, if you were single the rest of your life, you'll have way more fulfillment in a relationship with God than you will having a good marriage and a good family and a good home. Like, no, you're not going to be as fulfilled. And so the thing that you have to think about is, okay, which one do I actually want? And if I do crave one or the other, why do I crave it and how badly do I crave it? Because no matter what it is, like you can turn the theme of I think everything we're saying is you can turn something that's good or even neutral into a bad thing. And that's why a lot of Christians see media and different stuff as evil, because there's countless examples of it, of people out there that pervert it, that take advantage of it, that wander from it, that exploit other people from it. And it's just, that's wrong. And people should not be doing that. And I really, really wish we lived in a world where people didn't. And that's why I look forward to heaven. Like I really just do. I look forward to just being happy and joyful and being in great fellowship and relationship with other people, like on earth, in heaven, in the presence of God, besides being in a place where, yes, there's a lot of good. Don't let the evil outshine the good. But like there's also a lot of brokenness. And so I really do look forward to heaven for that reason.
Yeah.
One more thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to say
I
on
love
this.
that you're so passionate about
I
this.
am, dude. Because it's like when you're
more
in
people
it
should
though,
be.
dude. But when you are like in it and then you're out of it and you like see other people in it, it's like you just know the fruit that's on the other side. Anyways, but the last thing I want to say is that if there's a person who's a Christian who's watching this, or even a non-believer who's watching this and like, wow, this girl just ripped me apart. She's crazy. I just want to say I'm not judging you as a person, but I am calling you higher to think about your actions and think about how you're impacting other people, the way that they're viewing you, and then also how you are impacting yourself and your future and how those people see you. And that is so important to you. That should be so important to you, and it's so important to God. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah. I just like, honestly, like for me, that's huge to say, first of all, because for me, like, I don't think I perfectly hold true to this principle, but for me, if a girl posts a picture half naked and I follow her and I see that on my Instagram feed, I'm unfollowing you, like straight up. Like it, like you could be somebody.
Crazy, but it's real, yeah.
Well, that's
It's
what it
more
is,
than
bro.
half.
It's
more than half. I'm sorry.
No, but
you're
it's like-
you're
it's just the
1/5
fact
dressed
that-
at that point.
Yeah.
No, but it's a fact though. If you like say swimsuit, you don't think about that. But if you're like you're half naked, it's like anyways.
Yeah,
Yo.
well, that's real. So like, I could know this girl for 8 years from my hometown or whatever. But if you post something that's like I'm scrolling and I see you half naked, like the reason why I'm gonna unfollow you is not because I'm judging you as a person or because I think you're a bad person. It's because I don't want to picture you half naked, and I want to just like see you and know you for who you are, not like
Yeah,
not what
past
you
that,
look like
yeah.
when you're half naked. And for my future wife, I want to be able to look at my future wife and say like I haven't like just seen all these random women half naked, so you can know that I'm not comparing you to all these people I've seen.
Mhm.
Like that's what we've been talking about this whole time, and we're talking heavy about sexual sin and lust in terms of media. But honestly, I think that's the biggest like problem of media. So I think it's fine that we're spending a lot of time talking about it for sure.
Yo, that's one of the biggest things I talk about with Kimmy actually, especially during the summer. Even if you take all this picture and all this lust out of it, like I just be so for real. I talk to Kimmy sometimes and I'm like just like, dang, you think about just like the bikini in general, and I'm like, yo, like in no other context would it be okay for you just to walk around in underwear or lingerie or anything like that. But like everybody just does it and it's normalized in the summer, and you see how small you can get it and how small the strings you can get so you can get a better tan. And it's just like, even in my mind, it's just like, I can't, and obviously I'm not a girl, so I would never do, but I just can't picture myself being comfortable and something like that anyways. But yeah, that my mind always just goes to the idea of just the bikini and just, man. I was talking to you guys about this earlier, but I also, and this is a little bit of a hot take for some Christians, but when I'm scrolling on Instagram, if I see, even if it's somebody I know, if they posted something, and not in an offensive way, but if I know they posted it just because, oh, it's a cute photo of me, like I look good, I just want other people to, I don't even like that. Because okay, what am I doing? I have to validate this girl or this woman that she looks good, and so I'm liking it. Like no, I just scroll past it because that's just a thing that in my mind I'm like, what? Like
Yeah. So aside from like sexual stuff, lust, whatever, like social media as a whole is it like the way that it's created is not for your spiritual enrichment. So Christians should be concerned with their social media use more than not. Like more Christians need to take a step back and look at, okay, like is the way I'm doing this actually helping my fellowship with God or not? And again, the number one problem with social media is that it's a thief of joy because it's rooted in comparison. So it's not just with the sexual sin and lust and all that, but like, I mean, even I've felt it. I mean, I like if my reels, like ever since being in a relationship, like I see more and more relationship stuff, and yeah, sometimes I look at this stuff and I'm like, man, like I hope, like I start to get this pit sometimes when you see certain videos or reels of how their boyfriend like treats their girlfriend or like the characteristics that this boyfriend has for his girlfriend, and I'm like, I'm not that, and like. Like if my girlfriend is like seeing all these videos, is she hoping that I start acting like this? Like you can't really escape that. Like, if you're on social media heavy,
Yeah.
So, but it's deeper into just relationships. It's like what Zeke was saying with finances. It's like, man, like this person has all that. Like, man, I wonder if my family like is seeing stuff like this and thinks like I'm a failure because of it, or like. So there's just many ways that social media, like it really just can't give you the same joy, that satisfaction that Jesus can. So Christians view social media as potentially evil because of the fact that it draws us away from being able to like appreciate God, who I get to be in a relationship with eternally. It draws us away from being able to appreciate that relationship, and it instead pulls us towards materialism. It's stuff that just does not matter. So
Preach.
Careful and guard your heart. So Proverbs says guard your heart because it's the wellspring of life, meaning like, it's like what he just said with like, if I see some of my eyes, like my heart starts to desire that or yearn for that if I have positive emotions towards it. So let's have more positive emotions and yearning for things of God, not for comparison.
Yo, that thing that you said earlier was so real. I remember this one time, and I didn't say this to Kimmy because I was too prideful to say it, of course. But there was this person on social media who looked just like me, but he was a little different, and he had it better off, and he was doing good, and he was successful and all that. And the video popped up, and like Kimmy liked the video or whatever, and like she was like, "Oh, Zeke, like blah blah, just like you," and saying this stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting there at that time, and I was heavily comparing now because she's like, when she
Wait,
said,
you need to tell me who this is later.
I don't.
Or what the video was.
I don't think I genuinely don't think I know.
Okay.
Like if I saw him, I'd be like, oh, that's probably the person. But yeah, anyways, it was just because like you were like, oh, this person is just like you, and you had this person in class one time, and she was like, oh yeah, there's this person in class that said this funny joke, whatever, and she was like, Zeke, he was exactly like you, and he looked exactly like you, whatever. And at that point, also, I was like, yo, like, so, like, she's just heavily comparing me to this person. I started now taking that further, be like, oh, she's heavily comparing me to this person. And so now I have to all of a sudden outcompete this other person that I put in my mind that looks like me because, oh, if he looks like me, then what, stop it? And it was this whole cycle that, like, I went down that was, like, awful. But, yeah, I want to read one last scripture in Proverbs. If you're battling with lust, first of all, you need to go and you need to talk to somebody. Stop trying to battle it and stop keeping the skeleton in your closet. Stop trying to battle it by yourself. Like we said on a previous podcast, some of the strongest figures and people that had the closest relationship with God struggle with lust in the Bible. And so the verse I want to read is in Proverbs chapter 6, because Proverbs is a great place to go to if you need if you need somebody to smack the sense to you, like Proverbs is a good book. Because sometimes I'll read at it and it'll describe something and I'm like, yo, that's me. I'm doing pretty good. Like I'm wise. And they'll be like, it's a fool. And I'm like, hey. I'm like, dang. But anyways,
fool.
Can a man scoop fire into his lap without his clothes being burned? Can a man walk on hot coals without his feet being scorched? So is he who sleeps with another man's wife. No one who touches her will go unpunished. Men do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his hunger when he is starving, yet if he is caught, he must pay sevenfold, though it costs him all the wealth of his house. So this is another section of Proverbs that is talking about adultery, and a lot of the cases it's talking about physical adultery, so it's fornicating with somebody, sleeping with somebody. This passage right here, when it brings up that men do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his hunger when he is starving, is because in those times when somebody would steal food when they're starving, people would be like, okay, it's still bad, but it was at least for a noble cause. And the author of Proverbs was contrasting it because nobody saw cheating whatsoever to be noble. And even if he did get what he quote unquote thought was good out of it, it scorched him in the end. And it also scorched his family and his livelihood. And one thing interesting that it also says is it says, do not lust in your heart after her beauty or let her captivate you with her eyes, for the prostitute reduces you to a half a loaf of bread. Meaning that like the way that you're living your life, the stuff that you're pursuing, like you think that it's benefiting you in one sense, but it's actually crippling you and hurting you and being destructive in another sense. And we do that a lot. I've done that. Caleb has admitted that he's done it. Kimmy has admitted that he's done it. And at the end of the day,
she's done
what
it.
did I say? Yeah. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
Kimmy's admitted that she's done it. And guys, what we're trying to get you to understand is that the ultimate goal is to pursue God, because what God is about is he's about what's best for you. He's about a life to your fullest, and he's about a relationship with you. And what is better than a relationship with the creator, the person who created everything, the person that created that woman that you're lusting after, that he loves that woman as his daughter, and you're lusting after her and going back at the end of the day and trying to say a prayer, trying to be in a relationship with him. That's not how it works. And so again, if you struggle with it, talk to people, read the word, get in a community, a good Bible-based church. And guys, at the end of the day, everything is about God. Everything is about God. If you're trying to look to what pursue in life, everything is going to come up empty. It's going to come up void. It's going to be like a grasping at the wind. The same author describes it as, because you're chasing after something that's fleeting. Beauty is fleeting. Money is fleeting. Like Caleb said, you're not going to take anything with you besides your relationship with God and maybe some souls that you've evangelized to and God's used you to save. But you're not taking your money with you in the coffin. That's what the Egyptians thought when they buried the Pharaoh. Yo, do you know that? They would bury the Pharaoh. They would strangle some of the servants so that they could serve the Pharaoh in the afterlife and bury the servants with and they would bury gold. That's why Pharaoh's tombs and stuff like that, people rob because it's got gold and everything. Guys, that's not how it works. You're not going to take that with you. And so we're trying to get you to understand at the end of the day, is ultimately you want a relationship with God. Even if you say right now you don't, I promise you when you get to the other side of that, when you see the fruits of it, we've all been on that side where we think one way is better than God. And we've discovered, I think we've all discovered, it's safe to say that it's not. And so we're pleading with you, come back to God, have a relationship with God. If you're confused on how to start that, leave a message in the comments, message us, whatever. We've had episodes where we've talked about and shared the gospel explicitly, but talk to a friend, go to a church, read the Bible, pick up the word. And yeah, like always, we appreciate you guys for listening to the Reconcile Room. Caleb really appreciates it. He loves it.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah.
All right.
So yeah, you guys have a wonderful week. Hopefully if you have finals, it's going good. Maybe this is your nice little study comment podcast. I like that. And yeah, you guys have a wonderful day.
Bye.
All right,
See you next
bye.
week. Oof.